Now serving your entree of sports and entertainment, the triple shot of Marcus returns. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fish and Grits for the Culture. June 7, 2018. How's it going for you players?
It's a beautiful day, man. I'm still looking. I was still wondering why I didn't get no invite to Wyoming for the listening party of Yay. Of
Hey,
Yay.
easy, easy, easy.
I'm kind of salty about that,
We don't
man.
love
Can't,
you.
well, can't nobody else go back after that shit. You seen that? They count. They
Nah, man.
they
They
canceled.
canceled that.
They canceled
Them
all
white
rappers.
them white folks said make sure none of y'all rappers come back here. None of y'all.
So I
I
mean,
don't care if they R&B singers, if they wear that hip hop club, if they got on some Jordans, don't book them.
Don't come here.
you
If
know,
they're wearing that True Religion, that horseshoe shit, don't book them.
the album it did some things to me, man, because I was so mad at the first four songs, but then he kind of made it up with the last three. But those two Kim songs, he could have kept that shit. That All Mine and Wouldn't Leave. I'm cool with that. Like I get it. I get that Baby Girl want a song or whatever on the track, but I could have did without that. I need more shit like Ghost Town. Cause Ghost
Yeah,
Town is on repeat for me. I don't know
I,
about y'all.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. That Kanye West CD was decent, but when I listened to it,
It's
it
it's
just
the first four. It don't turn up to no mistakes. That's just me.
it feels hollow, man. It just feels like, man, Kanye,
Because
you
it's
really
the, it's
just
it's those two Kim tracks. I'm telling you what it is, Griff. You gotta just take those out and just listen to those five. Take out All Mine and Wouldn't Leave and judge it off those five songs. But especially once that All Mine come on, like man, you can skip this shit. He ain't talking about nothing on there. He
man, it
literally
just
ain't,
sound
he literally ain't talking about nothing on All Mine.
it literally just sounded like he just dropped a few tracks that didn't make Life of Pablo and just put it on a CD. It
I
gives me
mean,
the same type of
I
vibe.
guess I guess I maybe no mistakes, but that Ghost Town gave me kind of like a 808s kind of feeling to it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just all the extra going on with the instrumental or 070 Bake how she came on with the last verse and John Legend how he came on. I don't know. It just that whole Kid Cudi like they did their thing on Ghost Town. Like
It's amazing that you like
that
Ghost
gave
Town.
me because that gave me that old school like Yeezy, I can do anything. I'm the baddest artist in the world type of feeling. Like like I said, I don't know how y'all feel when y'all hear, it, but just the whole concept, how they produced it, like that's my favorite track, and that's pretty much how I judge this whole album. Cause that's that one song that make me feel like that's the old Kanye right there.
I just, man, I don't know, man. Let me see what Marcus got to say because I'm trying to choose my words carefully on what I want to say
I
about
mean,
this Kanye West. Like,
don't hold back, my brother. I mean, you already know I'm the one that's biased when it comes to Kanye. It always seems like I'm trying to defend him, but I really am a fan of his music. But by all means,
I'm a
if you got any beef with the album, I want to hear it.
I'm a fan of his music. I'm a fan of his style. I'm a fan of his production. But with Kanye, when it comes down to, it's like I don't get nothing. It's just like when I listen to the last, I want to say, let's start from Yeezus to the Life of Pablo to this album.
I mean,
I
they
don't
not
get it.
and they're not. It's not the same Yeezy if that's what you're getting at. Like I
Well,
don't
it's not
get
even the
I don't get
same.
that same effect like a late registration or graduation. But
Exactly.
but you're never gonna get that no more. Like this
But you
is he's a new
but
artist now. He's
But you
different.
know what I like about when I listen to some of these, when I listen like a KOD or I listen to Book of Ryan or I listen to even Davies or Nipsey Hussle, their album, or even Pusha T to a certain extent. But it's like I feel some type of substance in what they're saying. It's like I don't relate, but I can hear you. I feel like there's some depth of what you're trying to lay out in front of me. But when I hear a Kanye West track, it just seems like Kanye West is just too comfortable in just being Kanye West, and he's not pushing the tempo where he could have.
You want to know what I think makes you the most upset though, Griff? Because me and you, we both kind of the same. We like to visualize our music. Sometimes you
Hmm.
can't visualize what the fuck Kanye's saying because it just
At
be
all.
like on Yikes. He just screamed at the end and had me kind of shook. Like, what the hell was that?
I was
Like,
like, what
what?
you hollering for?
What is you screaming
Like, what did Kim do now, dog?
for? So like, I get it. You can't really visualize that Kanye music like when like on the old school track. You just don't feel it no more. So I'm with you 100% right there. But he's a different type of artist right now. Like
Yeah,
on that heard him say, you felt like you was flying in clouds. You don't get that.
yeah. I felt like he was really talking to me.
Yeah, you felt like he was talking to you. You felt like you was flying in clouds with him. They playing the piano. Ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
You chilling. You don't get that feeling no more. It's gone.
at all, at
It's
all.
gone.
and I didn't get that from this album. I mean, it was good. It was some
But
good songs on
you,
there.
you honestly didn't get that from the last two albums, if you want to be completely honest. I mean, these
True.
last three albums are probably his three worst albums, if you want to be completely honest. But it's still good quality music. At least some of the tracks, not
You know
everything,
when
but at least some of the tracks.
this is the best way I'm gonna put it. Kanye West sounds like everybody else on these last albums. He sound like it don't. You remember when Kanye West dropped the album? And it was different. It's like he pushed a different tempo. When he dropped Graduation, he dropped 808s. He dropped My Twisted Dark Fantasy.
Oh,
It sounded like nothing out there.
yeah.
And it was just it had something magical to it. Like I couldn't wait to go to the store and buy My Twisted Dark Fantasy or Graduation. I couldn't wait to get that hard disk copy just to say I got a piece of history because it felt like history. But with the latest rollout of his music, it just I don't. It sounds like everything else that it sounded like Kanye West was sitting up one night and was just having a few thoughts, and he's like, you know what, I got some dope beats in the studio. Let me just lay down some stuff and just put it in and send it out to the masses. But it's like Kanye,
it's only maybe two songs that'll make a playlist on this track.
and I'm just like, yo, I ain't been waiting 2 years for you to drop some mediocres. I mean, not mediocre, or
I mean,
I'm not gonna even call this movie. I ain't even call it.
It is what it is. It is what it is at this point.
I don't want to give it mediocre status. I want to say I don't want you to be waiting this long for something that's not magical that I can't connect to. Like J. Cole, like I mean, he gave us a year off, but when he gave us KOD, it was like, yo, this is really something different. Like this is, you know, but you take it for what it is.
What you think, Will?
It's amazing to listen to you young folks sit and talk about Kanye like this. It's so much pain in y'all's voice, and I feel you. I completely get where y'all are coming from, because a lot of people looked at me sideways, but to a certain extent, the way y'all sound about this album, low key, is the way that I sounded when Wu-Tang Clan dropped their second album.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. You can tell if you listen to enough rap, if you follow enough hip hop, if you're actually a part of the culture, there's a difference with a lot of artists, and there are exceptions. And those are those people that usually are the ones that we discuss amongst the elites, that they still sound hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You love all the people that you named, Griff, just a second ago, the Davies, the Nipseys, and stuff like that, because they still hungry. They still trying to eat. They not there, quote unquote. We respect them. We acknowledge them for the great artists that they are, but they're not acknowledged in the wallet. They're not acknowledged with the notoriety. So they're still hungry, and it's evidenced in everything that they do. It's evidenced in the way that they sound when they drop on a rhyme. Before Kanye, okay, we'll take it in two halves, and I'll go with y'all's division. We'll go post Dark Fantasy and pre-Dark Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-Dark Fantasy,
Man.
and I won't even talk about his albums. Every fucking guest spot that Kanye did, he tried to own somebody's song.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you heard Kanye on, he tried to claim that shit like it was his. Everybody in this room is competing for second because y'all all know who's first. It came through in his voice, in his swag, in his iambic pentameter, in the way that he flowed. Everything about him just screamed that I'm the most successful guy in the room. Post Dark Fantasy, now that he's been established, you're dibble dabbling in different genres. You got your thing going on with clothing lines, shoes, stuff like that. You established, you recognized as that premier artist. Well, I ain't got to try to make y'all believe it no more. Y'all have already bought in. So now I can do some of the things that I want to do because I got that kind of leeway because I'm Kanye. So you get to see him do more self-imposed psychotherapy through albums that came after that, because I don't dislike this album. I just take the time to really acknowledge it and appreciate it for what it is. And it's just his way of conducting his own psychotherapy and rehab, so to speak. It's him just being able to vent because he feels like there's no one person, place, thing, or idea that he can really go to outside of a studio and outside of being on a track where he could go through and vent and have those cries for help and have those moments to just ramble on and on because it makes his heart feel better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about it for me with this album. That's why I don't dislike it. I just kind of take it for what it is, but it's kind of saddening. It's kind of saddening for me because, again, like both of you, and we talked about this before, I miss my, I'm late registration, I'm graduation, you know what I'm saying? I miss that Kanye. I miss the Louis V backpack
Yes, sir. The double
Kanye,
polo.
you know what I'm saying? I miss the Jesus piece Kanye, you know what I'm saying? I miss the Jesus walks Kanye, but I also have to be conscious enough and respectful enough to know that we can hold those people in that moment of time through the albums that we keep or the playlist that we have, but to expect the artist to say exactly the same over the entirety of their career is almost foolish, especially with the climate of music today. You have to change, you have to adapt, you have to evolve. You know what I'm saying? You can't go and Jay-Z now is not Jay-Z from 99. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not going to work like that. It's not going to be successful like that. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg from 94 isn't going to work now the same way. You know what I'm saying?
That's so
You
true.
have to evolve. You have to come around because your audience has changed. Your consumer buyer base, more importantly, has changed at that point. So now you have to decide whether you're going to keep it a buck and do what it takes, come from the heart, keep it your style, or if you're going to do what you got to do to take care of new responsibilities, family, et cetera, et cetera. So you run that slippery slope and stuff like that. But I think the three of us are in agreement, man. While, this isn't his greatest effort by far, I mean, it's just really confusing because we kind of got sucked into his psychiatrist couch and we were like, I didn't even know I was invited. What? Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. All right, Kanye. Yeah, I was just here to see if you was doing the grad school album yet. I didn't know this
Really?
was what I was. Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, well, Kanye, you know what, man? Man, I got to get out of here, man. I just forgot, man. I got this thing to do. So I'm gonna holler back at you, man. I'm about
I'll
to.
be right back. I'll be right,
Yeah, yeah.
right back.
I'll be right back. But the thing about it that I think that's more prevalent to me is not the fact that yes, we're disappointed with this album. Yes, we wish that we could have gotten more. Yes, we're doubly disappointed because we know that Kanye has the capacity to do more. I think the worst part about it is how does this man get past this? How does this man get some sort of peace and relief for himself and get back to doing what he does best and being who he is the best? That's my bigger concern for him. I have tons of music that I can reminisce with Kanye. I mean, I would like to have new shit to add to that, but if I can't, then so be it. But now it's kind of like that player that you see that keeps getting the concussions, and it's like, you know what? Fuck what he's doing on the football field, man. I just want this dude to have a life outside of the sport. Like for me right now, I'm more concerned with Kanye outside of the studio, outside of all the madness. Like Kanye, the person, is in need of help, and I'm hoping that he finds an outlet or a resource that's going to help him get to that light at the end of the tunnel, man. Because if not, like you can see signs of a tremendous crash and burn coming.
No, that's true, man. That's 100% correct. And then, man, what's going on with the Drake and Pusha shit? Like it's
Absolutely nothing.
like this whole Ponzi scheme that they trying to do. Trying to got Jay Prince pulling power.
Pyramiding them boys.
Yeah, pyramid in the rap game. Come on, man. Come on, they gotta stop this, bro. I don't even understand why it's still getting so much.
It's one of those things, man. You go through at the end of the day. It's almost like everything else that we look at nowadays, man. When something initially jumps off, you're gonna get that adrenaline rush because you're gonna be like, "Oh shit, I can't even believe this shit going down." Oh man, what he saying? And then you gotta step back and kind of be like, "Okay, let me read between the lines on this shit. Let me see what's going on.
Yes,
shit. Let me see what's going on with this shit. Let me see.
Something don't smell right, man.
I look at it like wrestling, man. Did Drake take the ultimate job to help push it a little bit more? I mean, did he take the time to try to, put Pusha T like super over, like mainstream over? Because I mean, there's a generation of folks that acknowledge him from the underground scene and stuff like that, but there's also this newer generation that's really never heard anything from Pusha T like mainstream. You know what I'm saying? So now with this new album coming out and stuff like that, maybe that was the push that you need because, as well as I do, when it comes to this generation, stuff like that, what's the fastest way for a rapper to get on? Shit, Feud with Drake. Everybody know your name. Everybody know who you are.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And we can all look back and we can look at it. And Jay Prince out here protecting his bottom line.
Hey, whoa. First and foremost, shouts out to Rap A Lot and Jay Prince. You guys go out and pre-order that book. All due respect, sir. There is nothing that's being said here that is going to be perceived as inflammatory or derogatory because none of the triple shot of Marcus wants that smoke.
We don't want that smoke at all. I don't need you coming to shut this Fish and Grits podcast down at all.
Well, you know,
he might jump on here right now. We don't even know he's here. Like, oh yeah, I think y'all need to stop talking right now. Hey, Jay Prince in on this? Where is Jay? Yeah, y'all need to go on ahead and shut this down. I don't like this.
Jay Prince seemed like one of them uncles you just don't, that mean business. That he give you that look and he be like, maybe we might need to be quiet.
Like when he smile, he make you even more nervous. Like, wait, that nigga don't.
What you smiling? That nigga don't smile.
He about to kill everybody in the room. I got to go, y'all.
He got shooters on deck.
Once he start tripping, just go wash the dishwater. Run the dishwater. I'm gonna watch something.
Okay.
My whole thing about it I still think that I looked at all three of his interviews that he did. Well, he did more than that because he kind of was saying the same thing over and over again. But
of course he did because they already had these interviews planned out.
Yeah, for when I was looking at it, it seemed like it's money involved. It's gonna mess with the money. When it all boils down, if Drake was gonna say something, he was gonna say something towards Kanye. I don't think. With none of my stretching the imagination, I don't think that he had any type of because Pusha, if you come out and you talk about somebody, mama, they daddy,
three people under the same shoe company, two of them got albums coming out, and another one working on the album, all got beef at the same time. Come on,
exactly. And Pusha T just seemed like he didn't really give a fuck because he was the type of dude who's like, yo, I just talk about your mama, your daddy, and your best friend, dog. Clearly, I want all the smoke, so he didn't really care about what Drake had to say. And
I mean, that's the 50 Cent rule. You come in and you get heat by just busting shots at everybody with flagrant disregard for anybody's feelings. Still, that's standard playbook.
I love it. I mean, I loved it, man. I wish the beef would have kept on going because it to a certain extent, it's so hip hop just to have a good natural beef, and it's not even a type of beef like this Tekashi 6ix9ine or this what's his name? What's the dude? Chief Keef going. I'm not talking about that type of beef. I'm talking about just real lyricism and people just really going at each other. And like beef is supposed to be disrespectful, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't look at Drake a different type of way. I was just like, okay, Push out here really showing people that he can spit bars. Man.
Drake is a dude that made his living off his first 2-3 albums talking about life in the strip club and getting with strippers all the time. Why would you be surprised that he had a kid by a fucking stripper? Yeah, I don't get why people were just so amazed and astounded by that. I'm like, okay,
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas is strippers and
literally smells like stripper baby oil, and he usually has like glitter on the side of his face from some random chick. I mean, why are you so
glitter in his beard?
You know what I'm saying? Why are you so surprised by
buffet at the strip club? Like y'all got wings?
Hey, don't.
We just ain't never. I think the shock and all came that we never seen nobody shoot at Drake and shoot at him like that. With that many unmissed shots,
but it was also great timing though with the whole son shit.
Exactly. That's one reason.
And then all these been taking care of his son, and he did this. I'm like, come on, man. Why everybody trying to make him into a good guy? It's supposed to be a rap beef. Why everybody like covering up all the dirt? Like, come on, dude. That's not how it's supposed to go.
Today, the things that we know. There's more people now between the ages of 13 and 29 that know Pusha T than in the previous 5-10 years combined. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a supreme amount of curiosity about this new Adidas line named after Drake's son because Pusha put that on blast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is literally a scenario, and on top of it, you get a Jay Prince making the OG call to dead it, so you can still debate it because nobody, can really say there was a clear winner because they just halted the beef, quote unquote. And it comes in on good timing because now you're paying attention to him. How did he have enough swag to oh shit, let me read this book and find out why. I mean,
perfect timing.
I grew up watching too much WCW and WWE to be fooled. I'm sorry. I mean, folks should be paying Vince McMahon royalties off some of the tactics that they do nowadays in multimedia. Because literally, he should be getting royalties.
It all from him. They got it all from Vince. Vince had every storyline you think of.
Exactly. It's like if you watch wrestling long enough, none of this shit surprises you after a while.
Vince kidnapped his own daughter. Goddammit! Like, come on.
Hello. And then came back out the hoodie. It was me.
Like,
it was me. Shocked the shit out of me. I was so hurt. I was so pissed. I was like, man, Vince, you made me hate you my entire young adult life.
You son of a bitch.
Like literally, if I ever saw Vince when I was between the ages of like 12 and like maybe 25, 26, I might have put hands and went to jail on.
Had to toss them
Vince, you
things.
gonna stop fucking over Steve? You gonna stop fucking over The Rock? Everybody, I'm tired of you. I hate your evil maniacal ass. But I'm watching every Monday and Thursday, fam, because that shit is
Faithfully.
off the chain.
Faithfully. Can't even record this shit. Faithfully watch.
What?
But man, we had a lot of trailers come out too, Griffey. I mean, what you want to get into first, man?
Yeah, I know. Griff been in hog heaven with all these damn
Man,
trailers.
Griff,
Oh man, I've been saying everybody needs to stop focusing on this beef, and y'all need to start paying attention to what's going on TV. Talk about what's these movies coming out.
They don't hear you.
When that Ant-Man coming up, man? Ain't that
That's next month.
Hot fire.
And that trailer, and you know they just released a couple of TV spots, and that shit just looks better and better.
Yes,
That's
the
what I'm
TV
saying.
spots was lit.
Spots
I was
is
like,
dope,
yes,
man.
I'm here for this.
TV spots is dope for real.
Ain't nothing like a good female villain, so I'm always down for that. So
Man, say it again, Griff, because a lot of these execs and stuff like that don't hear you, man. Underrated as hell.
For the cheap seats.
we need these female villains, man. Giving these women
They
these
got so
these
many
roles.
good ones that they can use.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But let me see. Where we gonna start at?
Yes, Lego 2 and Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, man. So for those people that have not seen Legos or Wreck-It Ralph, need to go to log off this podcast. Yeah, it's terrible.
Your life is a poor quality.
Because Lego,
you are not living on HD.
The Lego movie and Wreck-It Ralph movie is probably one of the best animes that came out in the last 10 years. Both of those movies are geniusly done.
You're like at 240p. You're not even at 1080p if you haven't seen those two.
That man said 240.
Your refresh rate is lagging.
You can't even get on your phone at 240. Like
what? Your refresh rate is lagging, sir.
Yeah, so it seems like
you don't even have a G on your coverage. Just no 2G, 3G. You don't even have a G on your coverage.
Bars.
No bars at all.
No bars.
You still roaming. You roaming,
you got an hourglass that's just spinning like them old school Nokia candy bar phones. You got that now loading, refreshing, roaming. That's all you got.
You can go ahead and just say that we can really just talk about all four of the animated trailers that came out. It was a Spider-Man trailer that came out. There was the Wreck-It Ralph, the Legos 2, and the How to Train Your Dragon that just dropped today. And let me start off with the How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you watch it, Wilson. But for those people who have slept on the How to Train Your Dragon series, they need to wake up and pay attention, because I think that next is Toy Story. This might be the greatest animated trilogy since Toy Story, if you want to be honest, because each one of these films have done a phenomenal job of expanding the universe of which these characters dwell in. So with the first one, you got at the surface level the introduction of the dragons and how they, I guess, get along with the Vikings or whatnot. In the second movie, you find out there's even more dragons out there. They're getting mistreated. And this one seems like there's a underworld, I guess it would be underworld, village of dragons and stuff like that. And not trying to give too much about it, but just go check out the trailer. But it looks really interesting. The animation is spot on, man. Sometimes I don't know if you've seen the second movie. It was in 3D, I want to say. Some of the best 3D. Yeah. Some of the best 3D. I've seen all of them. And I just think How to Train Your Dragon.
The funny thing about it is, and it's so amazing that we're in this position, Griff, that like literally for all the people that listen to us, if you got kids and stuff like that, like this is your season. This is your season.
Sometime
it's some amazing films about to come out that you can take your kids to and enjoy, man.
Family time.
Awesome. It is awesome.
Hey, family time about to be lit this summer. Oh Lord, I can't believe I said lit. Let me take that back.
But I mean, it's one of those things too that I enjoy because of the fact that we review so many movies that are good in their own right, but aren't necessarily kid friendly all the time. And it's refreshing to know that there's still some companies and some folks that are out there that are still trying to push out good quality productions for stuff that's going to be kid oriented. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you don't want to be in a position where you like, nah, I really can't take you. I know you want to go see it, stuff like that, but you're not quite, old enough for this or that. But with like a Lego movie or How to Train Your Dragon stuff like, oh yeah, we all in. Come on, let's go right now. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Let's get it.
that Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer is the one that I'm really looking.
Ooh.
That movie I'm looking so far for. I'm looking.
It was the first one was so slept on. I was like, man, how could y'all not go see this shit? Are y'all crazy?
And now you're trying to take it up to the internet, and then I
What?
love it how they have like the whole spew on the trailer with the Penelope dealing with the Disney princesses and how they put a spin on that. I was like, yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that. I like it how Wreck-It Ralph it makes fun of itself. So it makes fun of like Disney. I'm pretty sure that Disney's going to take a shot at itself of how they have so much content of like Marvel, Star Wars, and all that stuff, Pixar. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna go. But I can't wait to take the little one to all those movies. I may have to tell him to be quiet in the movie.
So you pay attention, huh?
Like, y'all, I'm trying to watch this movie. Shut your mouth,
man. I'm trying to watch this, man.
Don't ask me nothing.
You know what? Here's some candy. Shit. Go to the concession. Here,
eat the popcorn and shut your mouth.
Leave me alone, man. Leave me alone, man.
Fucking jabroni. God damn.
Hit that man with the jabroni.
On the popcorn before you got in there.
Let's see what else trailers we got. We got the Bumblebee trailer, which is supposed to be, I guess it's set in the same universe as the Transformers movies or whatnot. And me personally, I think
my mouth from the last Transformers movie that I don't even know if I want to give this one.
God, that last Transformers movie was garbage. I'm talking about was horrible. That was probably one of the worst.
It was brutal.
I wouldn't even recommend somebody to watch that. Not even on their free time. Not even if you just want to just bullcrap and just watch a movie. I wouldn't even. Yeah, I wouldn't watch that.
I'm bored. I ain't got nothing else to watch on Netflix or Hulu, man. You sure I can't watch this Transformers?
Nah, don't even click on it.
Don't do it.
But on the flip side, it's very interesting to see that this Bumblebee trailer looks a little bit more personal, looks a little bit more toned down, looks like a little bit more of a grounded type of feel. When Bumblebee's like transforming into his robot mode, there's not a whole bunch of slickness to his design, how the Transformers movies do it. Sometimes the Transformers, when we first saw Transformers, like, oh man, that was awesome how that truck just turned into that robot. But after a while, it's just like, they got these moving parts and you can't really tell the robots apart. So it's good to see that they kind of simplified it a little bit. They dropped the budget down some. They took some of the stakes off of it. It's good to see Starscream. I'm pretty sure I heard there's 2 other Decepticons in the movie, so it was awesome to see G1 design Starscream and Bumblebee. And for those are for the people that are the huge Transformers fan that grew up watching Transformers. How the Transformers had a certain design to them that the movies kind of got away from. This movie looks like they're picking back up. So I like it. I mean, I was really entertained from what I've seen for the trailer. So we'll see if it's going to be good or not. It is. I do like the director. He directed Caroline, which is another slept-on stop animation movie. Also he directed Kubo and the Two Strings that came out, I want to say 2 years ago, which is on Netflix, which is awesome. Awesome movie. So it's another animated movie that he's directed. But I think this dude, given the right time, given the right cast, I think he could do wonders. So we're gonna see how it's gonna pop off.
You just might have said enough to make me give this damn movie a chance, Griff.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a chance. I got to give it a chance. For the simple fact is, it just seems like it's more personal. It's not Shia LaBeouf hollering and screaming to the top of his lungs and doing ridiculous shit throughout the movie. This movie doesn't seem like it's going to be ridiculous. So that's the whole thing about Transformers. I know everybody wants to complain and talk about, the humans. There's no point of humans in the Transformers movies, but you need some type of grounded aspect to the Transformers universe. And if you've watched the cartoon or even the cartoon, the reboot that they did in like 2004 or whatnot, you still have those human element kids to ground everything, but it just don't make them unbelievable, because it was so unbelievable watching Transformers movies. That some of the things that the humans were doing, it's like, this is not real world. We're not doing this type of stuff. So very interesting trailer. I hope everybody go check out that trailer. And then there's the last 2 movies I want to talk about are my 2 most interesting movies that I'm looking forward to, and that's
Griff.
What's up?
I need to, in the spirit of this podcast, Kanye you for a moment. I'm gonna let you finish.
Go for it.
I just want to take the time to acknowledge with the people that the Peyton Manning of the NHL has finally broken through and gotten his ring.
Boy, I
Congratulations
That's
to the
good.
Washington Capitals on their first ever Stanley Cup trophy. Alex Ovechkin, one of the all-time greats, finally getting through,
cemented.
getting past that Sidney Crosby hump and getting his
Cemented.
first ring. Congrats.
Submit.
All right, I'm good. I'm done. I'm sorry, Griff. I'm sorry, Griff.
Oh,
Back to the regular schedule.
Oh, Vetch. All right, go. Sorry, Griff.
You done, Kanye?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you still
I'm
going?
good.
Oh, I didn't know
I'm
if you
back
still
to
was
go-
going.
I'm going back to my dark fantasy. No, I'm going back to my dark fantasy. I'm good.
Alex.
That's funny. But yeah, shout out to them boys. But back to the good stuff or the second good stuff. And there's this movie called Mortals Engines that was supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out in 2008. Peter Jackson wanted to take over this franchise because he was saying it reminded him of Lord of the Rings in the grand scale of how movies should be viewed on a certain type of scale. Like how when you saw Avatar, everything felt real, everything felt grand, nothing felt computer animated. And when you watch this trailer, and if you look at this trailer, it's post-apocalyptic world. Everybody, cities are now on these driving machines or whatnot. And I haven't really been looking at it, but from the trailer, it just looks like the visual aesthetic of the film is very captivating. And it's unique, and it introduced the idea of cities moving around, like instead of being placed and they were becoming self-sufficient and things of that nature. And the trailer looks incredible. I don't too much know the premise. More than that, from what I've seen in the trailer, I should have looked it up. But I thought the trailer looked incredible. But the trailer that really got my interest is Widows. Just a female-led movie full of badass actresses, man. And led by Viola Davis, man. It's pretty awesome to see that it puts a spin on the men doing the bad things. But it's like, oh, the men, your husbands got killed off trying to pull off that bad thing. Now the wives have to come and they have to do and carry out the mission that their husbands failed on. So I thought that was a very interesting twist for a movie, and I can't wait to see that. Widows.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
What's going down on the tube? I mean, I had to watch Queen Sugar the other night, so hey.
I haven't. You know what? I got to catch up on Queen Sugar.
How you of all people who clamored about Queen Sugar for years?
Let me tell you why. I've been so caught up on Westworld.
Just lost
dog. Westworld. It's like one of those shows that you watch and you just like, why is nobody else watching this show with me? Why is the world like? Sometimes I watch and
I'm with you. You are not alone.
Westworld gets like maybe 5.2 million viewers a week. And I said, that's criminal. When I look and see Big Bang Theory and all these little boo-boo ass shows get like 24 million views, and I'm just like, yo, the world we live in now, y'all should be watching all of this content, because I'm pretty sure you can bootleg HBO, or you can holler at poo-poo down the street about let me borrow your HBO Go, because Westworld is an incredible TV show. It's probably one of the best TV shows that's out there right now. I mean, shits on Game of Thrones from a standpoint of this could really happen if you think about it, and I think that's great. That's a great premise of the show, because it's like if we don't learn from our mistakes, we gonna keep repeating the same thing. And this show is incredible. That show is incredible. I watched Ready Player One, which was an amazing movie. Steven Spielberg did this damn thing on that movie, and I also watched Lara Croft, which is another slept-on movie I thought was fairly decent.
It wasn't bad. It was not bad at all.
Because I remember you told me about it, and I still didn't get to go watch it at the time, and I finally caught up, and it's like, oh man, I forgot about Lara Croft. It's come out on DVD. Checked it out. I said, oh, that was pretty damn good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was actually a decent movie. For me, on my end, on the streaming tip, if you get a chance, if you got Hulu, catch up on Claws before the season 2 premiere on Sunday. Very underrated show. You can only sleep on it for so long. The Netflix documentary series on the toys that helped shape us just released their season 2, and it has two of my favorite toy lines in it, in Star Trek and Transformers, amongst others. But it's a dope show. It talks about the history of the product, how they came to bringing them about as toys, the ultimate run, the highs, the lows of the success, and stuff like that. Season 1 was a blast too. They feature stuff like Barbie and He-Man and stuff like that, so you can get like, you know, the inside background details about how those toy lines got started and stuff like that. Like, a lot of people don't know that the initial Barbie model was a French prostitute. That's how they came up with the body type and face for the original Barbie. Little things like that. And then, of course, you keep it on the usual suspects, man. You stay on top of your grind with your usual shows, your usual run-throughs. Queen of the South just got season 2 put on Netflix for those folks that kept up with season 1. 13 Reasons Why just dropped their second season out for those that kept up with that as well. Not too much more for me as far as anything on the movie front. We've already run through those that we got going on. TV series that are out now. And I know folks get tired of me and Griff constantly hammering it, but our usual suspects are so good. The Queen Sugars, the Grownish, the Blackish. If you haven't watched them, catch up to them. You got a good break in the action because they're on their hiatus before they go to the next season premieres. The Stars, the Empires. Go through and check those out. For folks that like to keep it a little bit more diverse and go look at different things and stuff like that, watch Taken. That's a good series. It's on there. Actually lives up to the original premise of the actual movie series. Designated Survivor I enjoy with Kiefer Sutherland.
That's my shit.
Is a really good show. I love that show. It's a very interesting concept, and I like the way that they bring it about. And
Kiefer can't do no wrong to me.
Kiefer breathes life into the most random and minute of characters, man. It's like, dude, like he's like literally, when we go back and look at him when his career is over with, man, we're really gonna talk about him as one of the most underappreciated actors of any genre, maybe of all time, because he has so much versatility, whether it's dramatic, whether it's action, whether it's psychotic horror type films, whether it's comedy. I mean, he's literally been able to pull it off in every direction in his career.
And he make you, on that show, he make you feel stressed. Like, I feel like I'm the president.
Man, he draws you in and makes you feel the weight of every single decision that he has to make. Like, I'm over here sweating like, what we gonna do, Prez? What we gonna do? I don't know, man. They got it in for us this time. They might impeach us, bro. What we gonna do, man?
Yeah, you be in trouble for real.
Yeah, like, you know, walking outside looking like, who is y'all with? Which y'all plotting on us? I know y'all. Yeah. Oh, that was last week's episode. My fault.
So we on the same team now.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, you go through and you look at stuff like that, man. And like, we're about to come up on an interesting time of the year because with both the NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs about to come to an end and stuff like that, you're about to have a nice significant break in the action outside of baseball before you really get to the latter part of July and August for football. Notice how I talked through that, Griff, because I'm not really.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
That bullshit. But yeah, this is a good time, you know, during those summertime months and stuff like that. The things you really didn't get a chance to check out, the things that you might have been curious about, was like, I don't really want to give it a chance. That's the fun part about living in a day and age where you have so many different platforms available to you. If we had shit like streaming services that could have recorded and we could have went back and watched that shit back, oh my God. I might be a 500-pound vegetable from lack of activity. I might be moving around in like a motorized wheelchair. I might look like Mojo. I might look like Mojo from Marvel.
Mark is gonna be looking like them boys off of what's that? Was it Up? No, it's not Up. Wally. You know how when they got off the little spaceship and how they was all rolling around.
I might need one of them big ass wheelchairs, just a little hover chair.
Yeah, give me that Walmart. Give me that Walmart scooter, man.
But yeah, man, this is that time of the year when you don't have anything to do, or for smart people that live in the neck of the woods that we live in Houston, like when I'm not trying to get smothered by heat outside during the day, I'm gonna sit in my house in the AC and be like, you know what? Let me catch up, check out this series.
That sun has been so disrespectful these past.
So motherfucking disrespectful. Disrespectful.
I just have to roll with it because the sun, like, yeah, I'm out here all day.
Sun out here like what? Yeah. Son out here playing that old school Houston music
son,
about beating
down the block, like Jay Prince. Hey, son out here looking like Jay Prince, dog.
I don't know if
Bossing
Jay
up
can
on
pull that
boys.
off like that. I think he got Jay beat on that. He punking folks daily.
He
Like,
really.
nigga, I see you
really on
sweat.
the block. He really on the block though, B. Like he really.
Like, oh, you put that.
gotta
Oh, you
be-
got that prescription deodorant. I'm about to bust
Oh,
that
the
too.
block
Watch
is
this.
really hot.
Watch
The
this.
block is really hot.
Man,
Gonna need two more.
man, 400 degrees. I can beat that album. Watch this.
Mm.
Hold my beer.
Scorching.
Hold my beer.
Not to hold my beer, son.
Hold my beer, homie. I'm about to scorch these motherfuckers one time. They disrespecting me.
Man, it has been real. It done got pretty real for Julian Edelman too, man. What's up? What's up with that boy? What's up
Who?
with that boy? Julian
Yeah,
taking these PEDs, my man, trying to get healthy, trying to get out
Man,
there.
he
I
trying to get paid.
I guess he say he can take the 4-game suspension. They're gonna make the playoffs, huh? 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
He said
you know,
Brady
but
did
Tom-
it. Brady did it.
Maybe they'll pay my fines like they did Tom's. I don't know.
four less games of stress on my head. I ain't got to worry about concussions.
All I know is Tom Brady is like, God damn it, Julian. I was on the cover last year, man. Not supposed to get cursed this early.
I mean, he already tore the ACL like a month within the
Yeah.
release. So hey, Julian just got it back. He having a terrible 12 months. I'll say that much.
Poor guy. A terrible year. Why getting paid?
I mean,
He'll be all right.
he still is the guy that helped them come back against the Falcons. I mean, without him,
But wait a minute. Here's the ether shot. Shit, he don't play for my team. I don't care.
I feel you. But that's still a big loss for Tom.
Cobb ain't get popped for 4 games. I don't care about that motherfucker.
Honestly, I'll put it this way because this the main reason why I put it up there. With Tom Brady not going to have Julian Edelman. I already know Danny Amendola. Got a new running back there. What type of fantasy value do you see Tom Brady having right now? For the first
same
4
that
games?
he's always had.
He's still gonna throw for like
The one thing that
He
works
gonna throw for
good
12
about
touchdowns.
teams like New England, the one thing that works good about teams like Green Bay is the fact that almost to a fault, from a fantasy standpoint, the only guarantees on those teams are the quarterbacks, regardless of who's lining up around them. They're always going to put up numbers because they're in a system that always generates opportunities for them to put up numbers. It don't matter who the names are of the people that they throw to, they're going to be in a position to put up numbers. Period.
Early season candidate. If you need some receiver help, Braxton Berrios may be the move, guys.
He might be.
That's just a little nugget for you guys.
He might be.
Might be the move. But speaking of moves, man.
No Dez is the. Oh, never mind.
And not this week. He said he's gonna wait till training camp. He's gonna wait till training camp.
He might wait until the second or third game of the preseason. To be honest,
we may be in and start the whole division recap by the time Des Bryant find a team, and that's gonna put us behind.
Pretty much.
We're
gonna talk about how he's gonna rip apart the Texans locker room when they sign him. It's cool.
No way.
Cool.
He too coonish for the Texans. They ain't
Cool.
gonna.
I mean, that would be a favorite for McNair then. Oh, my bad. My fault. Somehow we've taken a dramatic turn in this conversation. My fault.
Man, 45 uninvited the Fly Eagles fly, man. How you feel about that?
Who?
Oh, he gonna hoot the Super Bowl champs?
No, I'm hooing that fucking 45. I know who the Super Bowl champs are.
Yeah, 45. We don't call him by his real name. He don't get no love on this show.
Hell
No
no.
love over here. But yeah, 45 on some whole shit as usual. On his quest to divide,
I'm gonna uninvite you. Y'all already said that y'all wasn't going. How you?
on his quest to try to divide America on his racially based campaign that he.
They've been disrespecting the flag in the military. Ain't no Eagle in not one single game that entire season kneel or do any of that at all.
And my man Malcolm Jenkins,
But somehow they're
y'all not
disrespectful.
listening.
They're so bad.
I was with him 100%. on that, man, they not listening to him. They not listening to him. They hear what they want to hear, and that's the problem. They're not able to sit down and discuss these issues with nobody, and they wonder why they so frustrated about their voice not being heard because y'all not listening.
But they don't want to discuss the issues. That's the problem. They're using this as an opportunity to move forward, sway opinion, and push a narrative that did not need to be pushed in the first place, especially off this platform. But since it was there, but since it's there, let's take advantage of it, turn it on its ear, and spin it around and try to make it backfire on them. What they don't understand, though, is that regardless of their efforts, much like it's always been historically speaking, when you go through and try your best laid plans to try to bring so much negativity to so much light that evidently needs to shine, eventually you're going to have your day in the sun. And it's going to be an uncomfortable Houston summer sun. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time before people go through with the comeuppance and stuff like that. And loosely related, but still directly related. Yeah, let's remember, people, it's 2018. It's those midterm elections and stuff like that, man. Get your ass out there and vote. I didn't hear for 2 years about how much people hate Trump and this, that, and the other. So do what it takes to take down them bricks this on that foundation of that presidency. Get his ass out of there.
Gotta take the house down. Take the house down.
Get his ass out of there. But they probably won't hear us like they don't hear Malcolm. So I mean, maybe I should have just said it with a billboard or a sign.
So much realness.
But I mean, that's the part that's ultimately sad about this whole thing, man. Is when you go through and you get to the point now where you're just blatantly twisting the truth and slandering folks. I mean, and folks are still so dead set on following said false narrative that they're going to fall on that fictitious sword for the quote unquote patriotism. Your view of patriotism is a little bit skewed, because having the foresight and the bravery to come through and speak out against things that are wrong, to go through and combat the factors of oppression, is one of the things that George Washington and the original founders of this country did to start this country. So in essence, what these folks are doing, protesting something that they know is legally and morally wrong, is more patriotic than the oppressive media, slant, twisted, fake news, propaganda narratives that they're trying to put out to the contrary. And if anybody don't like my opinion on that, I'm not hard to find.
Yeah, let them know.
Preach on it, preach on it. I mean, I'm just glad that Colin Kaepernick's still able to have like that positive light within all this drama that's been going on. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all know he's never going to be back in the league at this point. But the fact that his name is still able to carry that much weight and piss them off that much mean that he did something in the community.
Oh, and it's still doing. And shouts out to his lawyer team for going through and taking steps to try to petition 45, as well as Mike Pence in his collusion case.
I'm so sick of Mike Pence.
A very sharp move on his part to go through and get to the core of the matter, because in his opinion, that the opinion of the president and vice president were instrumental in quote unquote backing the NFL owners into a corner as it pertained to trying to employ him last season. And as we move forward in time and see how they obviously got their coattails pulled and got their leash yanked on to the tune of revising this anthem policy, there might be some validity to that. But it'll be interesting to see how fluid 45 and his VP's hips are, how loose they get in their back pedal, because the back pedal is going to come. There's no way in hell they're going to testify in that case. And if they are, they're going to perjure the shit out of themselves. Because if they tell the truth, then this case is a wrap.
Man, oh yeah, they're going to lie their ass off, boy.
They're gonna lie.
And then that boy T.O., man. T.O. with the most T.O.
Hey, man. I'm not going to have a celebration when y'all having a celebration, but I'm going to have a celebration whenever I feel like it.
I'm going to have my own.
Bro, and I'm not going to have a date and time.
About getting in, but now that I'm in, I don't want to really kick it and celebrate with y'all. I don't want to get the gold jacket from y'all. I'm going to go kick it somewhere else. I'll Snapchat y'all and let y'all know where I'm having my cookout at.
But you know what? Right. It's so like T.O. to do something like that, and it is so funny. It is just it's hilarious to me. Like, I think it's ignorant, but I think it's the most hilarious thing ever. He trying to pull a Kanye, but it ain't working.
Hilarious and it's hilarious and it's sad all at the same time, because you go through and you look at all of the things that he said over the last few years, all of the things that he's tried to do and accomplish with trying to get back in the quote unquote good graces of the NFL, or try to be a viable part of the league and be a voice, or, be a face and this, that, and the other. Like, literally the only people that have never shown up to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony are people that have been inducted posthumously. You're the only living person that I know of that's ever declined to go to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And make no mistake about it, the repercussions on this is going to be interesting, because number one, if I'm a messy reporter, I'm interviewing all of his buddies that are going in with him. I want to know what Brian Dawkins thinks. I want to know what Brandy Moss thinks. I want to know what Killer Ray thinks. I want to know what Urlacher thinks. I want to know what they all think about that.
Can I ask you a question?
And then there's this whole tradition about I
want to ask you a question. I'm gonna pull a Kanye West on you. Do you think that what T.O. is doing is kind of setting a precedent that they need to go ahead and take a look at how they are like putting a standard or a stipulation to what type of accolades you need to actually get into the Hall of Fame or to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because if you look at this, you look at T.O. stats, remove, what he did on the field or off the field. I mean, he really didn't do too much off the field, but just, talk like T.O. does. But his stats spoke volume enough that he should have been a first ballot Hall of Fame. And then it's like part of me says, okay, go for it. I just want to hear what you got. Because you've been watching football longer than I have.
The only reason why I say I disagree is this. Number one, the old school in me says that when it comes to the history of the NFL and the impact and stuff like that, T.O. to me is not more important than Lynn Swann. And it took Lynn Swann and John Stallworth for fucking ever to get into the Hall of Fame. The thing about the Hall of Fame as it pertains to football is this. There are definite and obvious slants and biases on it, positionally speaking, because in a lot of the people that vote on its minds, there's positions that have more impact on a football field than others. T.O. accomplished great things in the NFL. He put up all world numbers. That cannot be denied. That cannot be denied. That are really in the conversation with his total body of work, what I guess would be a Randy Moss and a Jerry Rice. The problem with that is, unlike Rice, T.O. came up and made his living in a time where passing was more prevalent than it's ever been in the history of this sport. So it's going to be even harder for all of these guys that you see moving forward. It's going to be hell for the Antonio Browns and the Odell Beckhams and the Julio Joneses to get in, because the first thing that's going to be said,
Anquan Bolden should be a Hall of Famer.
I mean, the first thing that's going to be said is during this era, and you can go back, you can say anybody pretty much this came around from, let's say, 96 or 97 on, they're going to have hell getting in at the wide receiver spot, because this has been the Chuck and Duck League since then. Every year you got multiple fourth. I remember back in the day when it was considered an ungodly feat for a quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards. That shit was rare. Now you got people like Drew Brees that have 6, 7, 5,000 yard seasons.
Mm-hmm.
You got Matthew Stafford with a 5,000 yard season
in a row.
You know what I'm saying? You go through and you look at folks like a Jarvis Landry, gifted receiver. You look at a Julio Jones, gifted receiver. You look at a guy like an Antonio Brown, gifted receiver. Antonio Brown's coming off 4 or 5 straight seasons of 100 catches.
Mm-hmm.
NFL record. Yep.
Jarvis Landry has 400 catches in his first 4 fucking years in the league.
Most ever.
But when we go and we look at that and stuff, the metric is going to be different. And to a certain extent, whether people like it or not, it kind of has to be different, because you go through and look and see that a Jarvis Landry, like low key, has almost as many, if not more, catches in his first 4 years than maybe Lynn Swann had in his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
So does that
Different
put him
times,
in?
yeah.
I mean, Lynn's in. You know what I'm saying? You have to go through and you have to compare that metric and stuff like that. T.O. came through at a time where it was pass happy as all get out. So yes, while his numbers are fantastic, you have to go through and you have to use a different scale. The one reason why Jerry Rice stands out so much is because Jerry Rice put up modern day receiving numbers in a time when they didn't pass that much. Let's not forget that Jerry Rice broke his touchdown record in 16 games that Jerry Rice set in a 12-game strike season. Jerry Rice scored 22 touchdowns in 12 games. That kind of loses people in translation. That kind of loses people in translation. In a strike season, Jerry Rice scored 22 times in 12 games.
It's a bad man, dude.
You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a dude that was on the scrap heap and got kicked out of the 49ers, so he went to the Raiders and was their leading receivers for 3 seasons in his mid to late 30s. And still went to Seattle and caught almost 800 yards worth of balls.
Went to 2 Super Bowls. Went to 1. Should have went to 2.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That's why when you talk about it, the standard is different and the measurables are different. But that's why Rice doesn't get thrown in that argument when it comes to wide receiver, because what he did was so above and beyond his time period and for what comparable receivers that were playing with him were doing, that you don't have that argument with him. But when you go through and you look at the TOs, okay, well, TOs around there the same time as Moss, the same time as Bolden, stuff like that. It's going to be a logjam at receiver, and people are going to get pissed about it, and people are going to complain about it. But if you really apply the logic to it and stuff like that, it's almost the same way as saying, well, how do you do it with running backs? Do running backs matter more now? Are you going to give more credence to somebody being a first ballot Hall of Famer if in their next 10 seasons they get 10,000 yards now, or if they did it back then? You know what I'm saying? It just depends on the way that you look at it and how you respect the era of football and what was emphasized. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
Like, you go through and you look throughout the 60s and 70s, the star on the field on offense was not the quarterback. It wasn't the running back. It wasn't the receiver. It was the fullback. Jim Taylor was a fullback for the Packers. Jim Brown was a fullback for the Browns. Franco Harris was a fullback for the Steelers. Larry Zonka was a fullback for the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? They weren't the tailbacks. Rocky Blyer was the tailback. Mercury Morris was the tailback.
Mercury.
You know what I'm saying? Leroy Kelly and other folks for the Browns were the tailbacks. You know what I'm saying? Paul Hornig was the tailback for the Packers. But that was the glory position. That was the man that moved the chains. That was the man that made everything happen. If you didn't have a good fullback in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even into the early 80s, you just didn't really run. Because the last great fullback that came down the pipe was John Riggins for the Redskins.
Running that wishbone, man. You had to have a fullback.
And that's one of the things that made people love a John Allstott so much. Or I'm sorry, not John, Mike Allstott. I'm getting John Lynch and Mike Allstott confused. Was like a throwback classic. He was like one of the last fullbacks that you saw that actually put up running back numbers.
Yeah, he could do both. Yeah, all season.
Exactly. And that's the thing about it, man. But more importantly, back to the TO side of it and stuff like that. The one thing that disappoints me about it, and you're right, it does set a precedent, but it sets a dangerous one because to the letter of the law, when you think about it from an old-fashioned standpoint, when you try to determine who goes into the Hall of Fame and who doesn't, a lot of old school people will tell you this one simple question. If you ask yourself, can you write the history of said sport without including their name, then they don't belong. If you can't write the history of your sport without mentioning this person or saying this person's name, then they're a Hall of Famer. And with T.O., it's kind of borderline, to be honest.
No, that's true. Because as for as many great seasons he's had some stinkers in a lot of.
And not only that, but I mean, there's nothing that he's done really significant towards the history or the evolution of football for the most part. I mean, he had the one Super Bowl appearance, which kind of actually sways to his favor because it's hard to not think about the history without thinking about the Super Bowl. And we've seen him perform on the biggest stage and perform well, I might add, on a fractured leg. But when you go through and you do something and you did it respectfully, you crossed your T's and you dotted your I's and stuff like that. But you got to remember, you messing with these good old boys and old Petty Goodell over there. Oh, if you think you're going to get away with this shit and still kick it with us?
Oh, you done.
Nah, fam. Nah.
And
long term, you may have cost yourself money. You may have cost yourself potential dealings with the NFL. Because, I mean, if you get to a point where you've gone through all this turmoil, you've had all these problems and stuff like that, but they get you to a point where they actually accept you to the point of including you in their highest honor, well, there's a certain amount of acceptance and compromise that comes with that. There's a certain amount of, okay, we're going to put the past in the past and maybe we'll give you a chance to have a clean slate and get a fresh start. You never know where that could have led for T.O. He could be an ambassador to the brand itself. He could go through and he could, do things for the league. He could work in the league front office maybe, you know what I'm saying? But with moves like this, after you go through and you try to claim that, all the stuff that I used to do in the past was behind me, this, that, and the other. And I'm not down to, man. I mean, do what you got to do. You got what you wanted out of the deal. So, I mean, you can go through and thumb your nose at him and stuff like that. It's fine. But to think that you can do so without consequence or repercussion is foolish. This is the NFL we're talking about. They just blackballed a few players, probably for the rest of their careers, for simply kneeling in silence during an anthem. You think announcing that you're going to shaft them on their biggest night outside of the Super Bowl is going to fly? Nah.
With as many sorry-ass safeties in the NFL, there's no reason Eric Reid should be unemployed right now.
Eric Reid, Kenny Vaccaro, take your pick. I mean,
come on now.
I like Kenny Vaccaro.
Kenny cold, bro. Kenny's cold as shit. He just got to be in the right system.
Exactly, in the right system.
It's a lot of folks that's still out there, man, that you shake your head about, man. Arguably the top free agent left out there, Bashaud Breeland. I have no idea why he's still out there.
Man. Blackballing boys, man. But right now they don't want to pay those defensive backs, which I get it. Because you can find a young, hungry defensive back in the draft, a couple rounds in.
I get it to a certain extent, but if you some of these so-called contending teams, though, that you only a piece or two away, and that piece exists in your secondary in a pass-happy league, I'm gonna need you to swallow that pride and do the right thing.
Like, and try to get that.
I still don't understand fully why the Cardinals will let go of Tyrann Mathieu. Like, I don't even think the contract was that bad. Like, you talking about $8 million? You don't want to pay him $8 million?
I think they were just tired of dealing with an injury-prone player, no matter how good he was.
One that played,
to be honest,
all 16
and
games,
I get it. I get it because he was going to be in a position where he was going to start commanding more money just off the strength of the longevity and stuff like that. So why take the chance? Just go ahead and do what you got to do. And you got to remember that Arizona is pretty much in blow it up and start over again mode anyway.
Poor.
I mean, the only piece that they really have that they coveted is David Johnson. That's it.
Man, Mr. Johnson.
You don't shut your hating ass up.
Last place.
Mr. Johnson.
He ain't no Le'Veon, but I'm with you.
Oh my God. You're right. David don't hold out. David shows up on time and he works hard.
Yes, sir.
Because David's still under a rookie contract for 2 more years. That's why he ain't got he can't.
When that mixtape coming out? When Le'Veon mixtape coming out?
It's out, man.
It's already out, Doug. You know, he got that Skip Bayless diss track. That's a single.
Oh, I thought Jay Prince called in and canceled that. My bad.
Griff, I want to know how you feel, man. You probably a year too late, but you still called it, man. That sweet may be coming. Do it still feel as sweet without a Kyrie Irving?
I don't know, man, dog. It just comes to the fact that the Warriors are just let's see. So I was thinking about this last night when I was watching the game, and you know what? LeBron James been playing fantastic basketball. He's been doing a great job. I look at this two ways. LeBron James kind of, sort of, if you want to squint your eye a little bit, caused some of these problems that he's dealing with. And the only reason why
kinda?
Yeah, kinda, sorta, in a way. I don't want to try to be rude.
Stop being nice, Grill.
I want to be nice. I want to be nice. The only reason why I say that is because the people that
on this show, sir.
The people that are in place on his team are people that he wanted, people that he swore by, and the people that are letting him down. And the only reason why I say that, Tyronn Lue, I still think David Black is a better coach defensively than Tyronn Lue. I still think that
I don't think Tyronn Lue can coach, but continue.
Exactly. And I don't think J.R. Smith deserved that money when he was trying to pay J.R.
I feel all of them, bro. All
dog. Tristan Thompson. As much as I love Tristan Thompson,
I mean, but
for you.
But that's the big thing of it all, Griff. Like, he didn't want Kyrie to go, but I completely understand why Kyrie wanted to leave.
I understand why Kyrie wanted to leave too.
He didn't want to be little brother no more. Like, that shit get tiring. Like, this dude then came back, took all the fanfare, had a whole fucking parade down here.
I don't think it's a thing of necessarily not wanting to be little brother. I think it's one of those things of feeling like no. Don't get me wrong, because there's plenty of people that have been content being quote unquote little brother or second fiddle that we've seen historically on many teams. I think that the problem in this one that makes it unique is Kyrie no longer wanted to be in a place where he felt like he was an employee of a teammate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. That's the problem with LeBron is that he's a victim of his own branding and his own power and sway.
It was like when he first came back and he was like listing the teammates he wanted to play with. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, LeBron?
And you see what I love what Marcus said, that his own fandom, his own aura has it's a positive, but it's also detrimental to him. It's just like when JR came out and said it's a gift and a curse. Like, yeah, it's a great thing to have LeBron playing on your team, but it's also hurts to a certain extent. It's because you have that expectation on you at all times, and then you're expect to be great.
You're low key an employee,
you're the help.
And that's the part that makes him nervous, because if you don't show up and perform to LeBron's satisfaction, there's a pretty good damn chance that you're not going to be on that team.
Exactly. And then when
What
it comes
always,
to
Shaq always call them the others. The others got to perform. The others, like LeBron and the others, ain't this a bitch?
like that's cold. Like that's cold. And you look at that, and there's no other star that there's no other players that really go through that who have stars on their team because they're not looked at others. They're not looked at B plus add-ons to the squad.
Player in the league that has that kind of swing influence over their spineless front office or coach either. And that's another part of unique talents that LeBron brings to the table because he's been able to carry that in Cleveland twice. The reason why he's no longer in the Miami area is because of the fact that the coach and the general manager was like, Bron, hate to tell you, this ain't your team. This is our team. So you can do it our way or you can leave. And he bounced.
That's true, man. And I got to give some love. And the reason why I come to that realization is because they had Bosch on Undisputed today, and I was listening to him, and I was just looking at.
Yeah, you heard that, you heard.
Dog, I just really, dog. I look at how good Bosch was and how good Bosch could have how great he could have been. That dude was a badass. Like people forget when LeBron left, he was averaging.
Bosh and Duncan in the same name.
I'm sorry, sir. If you check the tapes and receipts and stats from when he played,
you could throw him up there
in the post where he was comfortable. He put up numbers exactly like Tim Duncan. Exactly like
Marcus.
He ain't no Tim
when
Duncan.
He got through,
on the deep
number one beef. Here's my number one beef. Here's my number one beef when it comes to LeBron because I love LeBron to death, and this is something I've talked about quite often in the last few days. The one problem that I have with LeBron, and a lot of people don't want to call him to the carpet on this stuff like that. LeBron James is a big man killer.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, his entire career, everywhere that LeBron has gone, he's had an all-star big man.
He had Joel.
Everywhere he's gone, he's had an all-star big man. And he's forced them all-star big men to either change their games or suffer the consequences.
They become a spot-up
He made
shooters.
Bosh learn how to shoot a corner three because if not, he had no place for him on the team. Because he's so ball dominant and because he's such a physical anomaly, he occupies so much of the dribble drive lane in the paint that a big man can't get comfortable and do what they traditionally do.
Technically, he
need further proof. Show me
like
all the highlights of LeBron going through dribble driving and kicking it in to a big man for a dunk or kicking it out to a wing for a three. He doesn't incorporate a big man into his system because he's the big man.
And you know what, Marcus? I'm so glad you said that because that's a flaw in his game that I've always wanted to call out because it showed last game when they had the pick and roll that they could have been running with him and Tristan Thompson on how easy them baskets could have been for Tristan Thompson.
When he was not to Cleveland. He had an all-star in Ilgauskas. When he got to Miami, he had an all-star in Chris Bosh. When he got back to Cleveland, they went and got him another all-star in Kevin Love. And he's made all of their games suffered. Don't believe me and need further receipts? Look at every single time in this playoffs and especially in the finals when LeBron James is not on the floor and Kevin Love is, Kevin Love's numbers go through the roof.
Yes, sir. Chris Bosh, when LeBron James left, was averaging 21 and 10, and then he got hurt. Then when he came back, he was averaging 28 points and 13 rebounds and 5 assists. Chris Bosh was balling, dog.
Canadian Tim Duncan.
Chris Bosh was really balling, Marcus. Like, I had to go back and I looked at some of his game tape. And you know what? I think that we talked about that once before on the old podcast.
The worst thing for Chris Bosh's overall career, now it got him momentary success and got him 2 rings. The worst thing for Chris Bosh's career was leaving Toronto.
Yeah, because he was on his way.
If he never left Toronto, we would be talking about him like we talk about the Tim Duncans, the Kevin Garnett's, the Anthony Davises, et cetera, because that's where his path was going. That's where the trajectory of his career was going.
No, he was bad.
He was supremely dominant in Toronto. He was an elite big man in Toronto.
I agree, man. I agree. But yeah, man, just looking at this final, it's not bad for the NBA because it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be for the NBA because the Warriors still look like they can be beat. The Warriors still look like they can be beat. They still look like they can be beat.
Of course they can be
beat. You can't catch them off on a bad day. They just don't seem like they not the team like last year where they had the free flowing and they were just really just shooting everybody out the gym. They just seem like they go through ISO ball.
They're aging in key spots because they don't want to play up how much Iguodala's injury has been detrimental to their rotation and stuff. And they're going to have some surrounding issues moving forward that's going to make that dynamic interesting because now that he is not qualified for Supermax under said criteria, now Clay is backpedaling and he says he won't sign an extension with the Warriors. That's going to be an interesting little storyline that people are going to want to pay attention to because I guarantee you people are going to come out of the woodwork and tell Clay, look, bro, come be a superstar. You ain't got to live in nobody's shadow out here.
Phoenix.
You ain't got to live in nobody's shadow out here.
Did you say Phoenix?
Give me a draft pick. Give me Klay Thompson in 2 years. Give me Devin Booker. Give me Josh Jackson, and give me a goddamn playoff run. Phoenix will be popping. Phoenix will be popping if
They won't do it though.
If I'm Klay Thompson, if
they throw him a stupid ass contract, oh what?
But they won't do it though.
What?
They about to throw stupid money at Capella, so I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't. You know,
They about to throw stupid money at Capella, and they about to draft DeAndre Ayton, and they about to have the fastest twin towers since the mid '80s with Hakeem and Ralph Sampson.
Hakeem and Ralph Sampson.
If you want to make a real run, you pair them two young Thundercats together, running up and down the damn court with a Booker and all them other little shooters from Kentucky
Klay,
that they got. You can make some noise. Clay's gonna be a Nugget or a Spur.
Nah,
I say he should be a Nugget.
Hey, I think they made them new uniforms just for him, Griff. Come on, Clay. We took that sky blue out. We put that maroon back in.
Yeah, we need you to come out here and look good for us, Clay. Come on, John B.
Come get it, homie. Come get it.
Don't listen
to what the market says.
He gonna be a son.
How in the hell did we all get to the same goddamn song at the same goddamn time?
That's too funny.
This is a pop culture podcast.
Man, it's too fucking funny, dog. But yeah, man, that the playoffs have been. I really enjoyed the season. I enjoyed the playoffs. The finals is way more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
It's been a good basketball season. And while we're on that subject, quick side note, shouts out to James Harden getting the MVP award. A lot of people don't want to give it as much credence because it's not the quote-unquote official MVP award, but I'm going to give it a lot of respect because it's the award that the players actually vote on. So congrats to James Harden on that.
It's the second one. One.
Can I tell y'all something?
Doesn't matter without the chip. Oh, go ahead.
I want to ask Wilson a question. So Wilson, you know how there's a lot of the narrative going around that the refs not really being consistent, or the refs calling in favor of the Warriors, the refs calling in favor of the Cavs. Do you think that the Rockets fans have a legitimate case in what we have been complaining about, or what we were complaining about in the last series?
Yes and no.
Okay, I just want to know.
Yes, in the most obvious sense, because I mean you can see that there's key moments and stretches where, I mean, granted the refs were obviously slanted, but the part that backs it off of it and makes it hard to digest for all fans is the fact that, I mean, referees are just fucking inconsistent in the NBA in every direction.
It's a hard job.
It just depends on the way that the tide flows. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, no, they don't have a complaint, because even with that being said, the measure, and we've talked about this all season long, I've had my time to be respectful of you guys as a rival and a Spurs fan, to let you know about those pitfalls and those little things that divide the really good teams from the great teams. And one of those ultimate equalizers, and I always feel confident to speak about this because as a Spurs team, if somebody tells me that there's an actual conspiracy to get the Spurs 5 championships, I'm just going to laugh at you. The one thing that stands out about it is when you go through and you look, the difference between great teams and really good teams, and that's why this finals has just been two really good teams playing each other at this point, is that at no point in time should you be relegated to blaming a referee for an ultimate outcome of a game. Because if you're doing your job as a team and you are as great as you believe that you are, there's no ref that could turn the tide of what you got going on anyway.
J.R. Smith.
And that's my thing. You go through and you look at stuff like that. The J.R. Smith was a backbreaker. You go back to the Rocket series, man. The stubbornness and the unwillingness of both coach and players to somebody open their mouth and say, stop fucking shooting outside. We're killing them inside on this pick and roll. Is mystifying to me. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I can't blame on a ref. And that's where the dilemma lies. I would love to be able to say, well, yeah, man, you know, them refs had it in for the Rockets, man. They don't love Texas teams like that. And I've always had that bias when it comes to the NBA. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. The NBA does not like Texas teams historically when it comes to
Dwayne Wade got every call I ever seen in a fight.
But we gonna back off that for right now.
Oh, you talking about against the Mavs?
Yes,
I'm talking about against any Texas team. You go back and you look at the way that they turned him into Superman against the Mavs. Go back and you look at the fact that Yeah, I mean, you go back and you look at the fact that in the supreme highest form of disrespect, when the Rockets played the Knicks for the title in '94, Sports Illustrated, who always prints out everybody's championship edition issue and commemorative book and stuff like that, made millions of copies for the Knicks. They didn't print up not one single fucking book for the Rockets.
No
even
love,
after
Texas.
they won. Even after they won.
Mm-mm.
You go through and you hear the narrative about the Spurs and stuff like that. For all of their continued success, for all their consistency and stuff like that, the best narrative you get, A, they never repeated, B, they're boring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right, cool. But it's still them 5 rings and 6 appearances, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's still the state that arguably has the best track record of actual drafted homegrown big men in NBA history. Because Dirk is a career Maverick. Akeem is a career Rocket. Duncan and Robinson are career Spurs. You can go back even further with that with a Ralph Sampson, with a Moses Malone. You can't name a state that had teams with more natural homegrown, home drafted big men in the NBA. Tell me another one.
No, we can't touch them.
Exactly. Exactly. So you go through and you look at stuff like that, man. But I mean, you go through with California. Who California got that they drafted from scratch?
That's what I said.
On that list.
I said California adopted all theirs. Like they ain't really just
all theirs is imports. All theirs is imports. But we go back to this Rockets thing and stuff like that. Do they have a legitimate beef? Yes, they have a legitimate beef. But the thing that Rockets fans need to understand and kind of adapt to is the fact that you have a beef that goes in more than just the direction of the refs, because you should be doubly pissed at the fact that your team, they could perform much better than they did overall in that series, left it in the hands of a ref. A fight. When you go through and you don't knock that man out and you leave it up to the scorer at the judges table, well, shit, you can't be mad at the decision that you get. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that I think they have to focus on moving forward. Don't sit and dwell and be so quick to come with an excuse. Come with that motivation and come with that hunger. Nobody in San Antonio that I know of, and myself included, made any excuses for them 4 fucking missed free throws and that goddamn corner 3 that Ray Allen hit that cost us the title in 2013. The only thing that I wanted was exactly what I got. My team got pissed. They got hungry. They went there in the offseason. They came back with a hellified chip on their shoulder, and they pulled off the biggest blowout in the history of the NBA Finals.
And then refs aside, Griff, I mean, that still don't make up for Trevor Ariza having the same amount of points that we had.
Oh, Trevor Ariza got paid off. You see,
I don't give a fuck.
You see,
Trevor Ariza got Trevor Ariza got 702 numbers in his phone right now. Check his phone record.
One of those like turn around Kobe fadeaway threes. I'm like, what is he doing?
Bro,
and
he got paid off because
he's trying to take a pay cut to go to Golden State.
Exactly.
And he started crying.
Exactly.
He don't miss all those shots and start crying, boy. If you don't get chipped,
I want to be KD too. I want to be KD too.
Trevor got paid off, and that's why these reports coming out that he want to take a pay cut and go play with the Warriors. It all makes sense.
That son of a bitch.
Tell me why.
Wait a minute. Let me get my DMX on belly voice. But that's your man. That's your man.
He gone, boy.
Don't ever call the spot from my house, man. I told him, but that's your man. That's your man.
What did he do?
Hey, fuck that nigga Trevor Ariza, dog. He got paid off, dog.
He trashed.
He in the trash bin right now.
Dilly, pit of misery.
Yeah, he in there.
You in there, bro? You ain't coming out.
Yeah.
Snatch your.
But real talk, man. My parting shot. My parting shot for the Rockets and their fans is this. You can go one or two directions. You can sit and you can be upset and complain all off season and woe is me, or you can go through, you can find the pieces that still fit and work. You can find the foundation that you need to build on, and you can go get better, and you can go prove them wrong again next year. Nobody thought that you were going to be the number 1 seed in the NBA this year. Nobody thought that you would have the best record in the NBA this year. I don't give a fuck who you ask. Nobody outside of Harris County legitimately thought that the Rockets were going to have the best record in the NBA this year. Mm-hmm. Nobody.
That's true.
I don't care what any of them say. There's no way they were going to say that they. Nobody. There weren't a lot of people that even thought that they were going to win the division because they didn't know that Kawhi would be hurt. Because most people I knew put them in second behind San Antonio.
That's true.
Especially coming off of what they did in the playoffs the year previous to San Antonio. So it's not like it was an underwhelming year. It's not like it was a disappointing disappointing year, except for the fact that you wanted to be in the finals. You wanted to win the championship. I get it. That's the goal of every fan, is to see their team play for it all. So there's no shame in that. But don't let that turn into the summer of discontent that alters your future in a bad sense. You got some contracts that you need to deal with. You got some situations with some players to deal with. You got some decisions to make as far as who you want to retain, who you want to get rid of, and who you could possibly look at bringing in. The key for the Rockets right now is going to be consistency and chemistry. They're going to have to function in a manner where they keep their identity, for better or worse, and stay consistent with it, because they've seen exactly how much success they can get with it and potentially get more out of it. They have to be in a position where they make the right moves as far as personnel goes in this off season, because you can't shake up or dramatically alter the chemistry to the point where you become dysfunctional as a team. We've seen this happen before with Rockets teams, where you go through and you kind of shake up the pot a little bit, and you kind of look at names more than you do how they actually blend in together with each other, and then wonder why you get the product that you get. You know what I'm saying? You have to find the pieces that fit, the pieces that work. I mean, as much as I'd love for him to be a Spur, I think that it would actually be more beneficial if he actually went to the Rockets, because I think they would get more value out of him. But I would take a long, hard look at Tyreke Evans. He fits the system. He fits what they want to do. He's a better version of Danny Green in the fact that he's a more athletic and more playmaking 3-and-D guy. And that's one of those key things that the Rockets was actually missing off of their roster. They did not have a consistent 3-and-D guy on their roster.
And that's why I've always said I don't want to sign Chris Paul to no supermax contract. I want to go ahead and get Favors. I want to re-sign Capella, and then I want to get Paul George or Tyreke Evans, and that's the way I'm going to be moving.
You can keep Favors.
I mean, for my money, it's hard to justify getting a supermax contract when your knees and your hamstrings is that bad.
Exactly, dog. We can't insure the hamstring.
I mean, no disrespect to Chris Paul, who actually had a fabulous season, and he shut a lot of people, including myself, up with his performance this year, because you can go back to our podcast at the beginning of the season, and I questioned everything that the Rockets thought about getting Chris Paul on that team, and he proved me wrong. He had an awesome year. He was a stabilizing influence. He was a great force, both in the locker room and on the court. He was like having an extra coach out there on the court for them, and it worked wonders for him. It literally changed their identity, and it changed the way that they played. But unfortunately, you wish you could have got Chris Paul to do this for you 5 years ago, because now he's, in that age bracket where it's kind of iffy moving forward. He's got a lot of tread on those tires, man. And I mean, it's sad to say about a truly great player, but I mean, clock's ticking. I mean, pretty much, I think it's pretty safe to say that outside of doing the Steve Smith, Gary Payton role in San Antonio or Miami, like his legit chance to win the championship as a player of value, he's pretty much functioning on a 2 or 3 year window.
And that's what I think he need to get paid, like
2 years.
Exactly. I do not disagree at all.
2 year with a player option or team option.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do right there.
But he ain't gonna go for that shit. He got kids. He
trying to get that 40. He trying to get that 40 million at 38.
Yeah, he trying to get that, man.
Chris like wearing them tight ass cowboy pants a little too much, so I don't know.
Chris Paul said these State Farm
got into the rodeo attire.
He can't be on these too many more State Farm commercials while he keep getting hurt.
Hey, you need to be opening up the agency
on a State Farm commercial for himself. Cliff Paul coming to see Chris in the hospital.
Exactly. Cliff, let me borrow your hamstring.
Mine bad too, player. We're the same person.
We're the same person.
You know what happened on my way up here to visit you in the hospital? Fuck if I didn't tear mine too. I'm about to get
Hey man, as usual, y'all can catch us on melanated&illuminated.com/Fish and Grits. Fish and Grits podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. Hop up on the Facebook page, Fish and Grits for the culture. Like, listen, enjoy it, share it. No, you want to. You got to.
You know you want to.
We only here for you. We here for you.
Stop goddamn hating. Shit.
This is for you.
It's for the people, man.
How you look in the mirror and hate what you see every day? How does that work? You know you want this. You know you want this.
Man, anything else y'all got before we wrap it up, though?
Nothing at all, man. Nothing at all. It was a good season, ready for football season now.
Whoop whoop. Division breakdown coming soon. We're just gonna have to put these dates together, but it's gonna pop off soon. We just need to we're gonna at least kick it off 8 weeks before training camp kick off. That way y'all got a little bit of content to drop on y'all boys. So that'll be coming
Most
soon.
definitely. Let me have an Uncle Buzz moment for a minute, if I may.
Oh, of
For
course.
all of my good people, let me reiterate again. It is 2018. We're at the halfway point, people. It's time for you to walk it like you talk it. You want to take down that house of cards that exists out there with all this fake news and stuff like that. You got to get out and vote. If not, shut the fuck up. Uh,
Mm.
that's the only way you're going to impact that change the way that you need to. If you don't want them there, vote them out of there. But it's not just voting every 4 years. You got to vote all of his assistants and cronies out of the building too. It's not going to work if you don't vote the whole house of cards down. Um, and on another note, we talked about Kanye today and some of the issues that he's had and how it's reflected in what he does. Um, Also, trouble to learn, even though I'm not really familiar with the person and stuff like that. But I will take the time to acknowledge that there was a suicide by a prominent fashion designer. I want to say Kate Spade, I believe.
Yeah, K Spade.
Um, Little microcosm for a lot of folks, man, and especially for my people of color out there, because I know it's a very unpopular thing. But if you're going through something, if you are experiencing changes in your life and your demeanor, if you are experiencing changes in your outlook on life, uh, do not be too prideful. Do not be too ashamed to talk to somebody or try to find resources to help yourself. We've sat here and we've talked about Kanye, who is a brand unto himself. He's never hurting for money or anything like that. You talk about a designer who literally had tons and tons of money,
That's
but
the
both
80s,
are
the 70s,
in.
man.
It's one of those things where it's not just a symptom of people that are existing in poverty or negativity that have these problems. Mental illness is not a fad. It's not fake. I mean, take the time to acknowledge and find help for yourself. Do not become a statistic. Do not become that person who in their last moment of life wishes that they still had life. Find somebody to talk to, find somebody to reach out to, find a resource that can help you with whatever it is that you're dealing with, no matter how big or how small you may feel it may be, no matter how much people in your family may tell you, oh, you know, black people don't go through that kind of crazy shit and this ain't bullshit. Everybody goes through everything nowadays. There are no longer certain stereotypes and pathways that are gender or race specific anymore. It doesn't work like that on this planet anymore. Too much of a mixture. It used to be when, you know, we had our thing where, you know, you had white neighborhoods and white levels of class and this, that, and oh, well, we just don't go through the same problems as them because we don't have the same kind of struggles as them. Well, that shit don't really apply the same way anymore. It's plenty of black folks out there that's got first world problems and white people struggles because they exist in that kind of world. But you're going to reap those kind of benefits and side effects too. But don't be ashamed to go out and try to get help for yourself. Or if you see somebody that you know is going through something, but they don't want to speak up, pull them to the side and ask them about it. Offer your help. Offer to help them find help. Don't be too prideful in trying to be, oh, no, I don't want to mess with it. No, no. If you truly feel in your heart of hearts that there's somebody that's really, really going through something and you want to try to be the best friend that you can be, it doesn't matter if they're comfortable or not. Offer the help. Better to offer the help and have somebody be mad at you than to go to their fucking funeral and wonder why you didn't help them out in the first place.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Depression ain't no joke, man. Because I'm finally getting out of mine. I ain't much gonna lie to you.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't understand the fact that it doesn't have to be a, oh, I'm about to cut my wrist type of depression. There's many levels to depression, but depression is depression.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, if you go and you don't acknowledge it, it will build up and get worse.
Yeah, man. I wasn't to the point where I was trying to off myself, but boy, I tell you,
I mean, but
it's just like you didn't want to exist, huh?
like we always say, it all comes down to communication. Like Wilson said, a lot of people are afraid to communicate, man. Like nobody want to admit their flaws. And sometimes those flaws is what make you yourself. Like we're perfectly imperfect as people, and that's fine. It's
It's
fine
the
to be
imperfections that make us perfect as human
Exactly.
beings. That's why we always are taught to strive towards a goal, even though it may be unrealistic, because it keeps us on that right path to being the best people that we can be.
Yeah,
And
that's
when we say we're an open book, like people, y'all can communicate with us. If y'all got anything to come
Hey
talk,
man, you can get on the Fish and Grits page, or you can get on my personal page. You can inbox
we
me.
right here.
You can do whatever. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it takes you talking to my crazy old ass about anything to help you brighten your spirits or find the help that you need, I ain't hard to find. And I'm so sincere when I say that.
That's it, man. Like for real, y'all.
hey
If y'all
man.
ever feel y'all got to contact us, we right here.
You know what? You know what helps depression? Hitting the sweet.
Roll that cigarette.
Roll that stuff
Roll
up.
that shit. Light that shit. Smoke that
Smoke
shit.
that shit. Weed.
It's good for you.
Hey, I ain't never heard of no weed related suicide case, just being honest.
Man. Snoop Dogg living his
I couldn't
best
take
life.
this shit no more. The sweet
Yeah,
was too
Snoop
goddamn good. I had to
Snoop
kill
living
myself.
his best life,
Snoop
son.
living his best life. Snoop no MMA now. You can't fuck with Snoop.
What?
Snoop cold.
What? Snoop
like-
can't have too much left on his checklist. He can't have too much left on his
At
checklist.
all. At all.
Cooking
man.
show with Martha Stewart. Did that shit.
Check.
Did that shit.
Book.
Pee Wee
Host a game show.
Did that shit.
Country football
Clothing
team.
line. Yeah, I did that shit. I did
Change
that
your
shit.
change your name from Snoop Dogg to Snoop Lion. Check.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in there.
Nigga, I play Bones, nigga. What y'all gonna tell me?
Exactly, son.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
Y'all
gonna tell
boy.
me this shit.
Hey, he gonna become the commissioner of rap, and then that's when he gonna bow out.
Hey,
Man,
that's it right there. Snoop didn't run for
I have
president.
nothing left to prove to y'all, man. I'm just gonna go back to the crib. You know what I'm saying? Just get
So
this
smooth.
ooh-wee. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Woo! So smooth.
Scooey dooey dooey dooey.
So smooth.
you know what I'm saying? Just
But yeah, like we said, y'all can always reach out to us if y'all just need somebody to talk to. We always here. But as for now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
Y'all enjoy.
peace.